Welcome and bienvenidos to our new program called Next Generation, highlighting the many creative journeys of next generation leaders. In this series, I will bring you the stories of young leaders in science, literature, medicine, education, and business. Those who have chosen to reach further, travel farther, innovate, and take the risks often necessary to make a difference in their own lives, in those of their families, their communities, and someday in the world. My name is Julieta Garcia. For over 22 years, I had the great privilege of serving as president of the University of Texas at Brownsville. Through that work, I came to know the stories of many of our students that overcame great obstacles to attend college and through great sacrifice of their own and of their families, make it through. Getting to know their stories was always a great inspiration to me. So I thought I'd chase some of them down, interview them, and let you hear in their own words what they're up to now, what their challenges were, and what they hope to accomplish in the future. I promise you will be as inspired, amazed, and humbled by their accomplishments as I have been. Now let's get started. It is my great pleasure to welcome to our show today Victoria Gonzalez, a native of San Antonio, a graduate of UT Rio Grande Valley University, and now for some just really kind of very exciting news for all of us, has been selected to be Miss Fiesta San Antonio. So welcome to the show, Victoria.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's wonderful to have you. Thank you for taking time to talk with us this morning. So let's go back a little bit and talk about first your time in high school. Where did you go to high school in San Antonio?
I went to William B. Travis Early College High School. Okay. So it's an early college, meaning that you not only complete your regular, high school diploma, but the goal is to complete by the time you graduate high school also an associate's degree. So that's what I did. And I graduated in 2015. I was valedictorian. So I got my associates in liberal arts and also my high school diploma.
That's extraordinary. I don't think a whole lot of people understand how important those early college high schools are to a student's career. It compresses your time at the university to 2 years for a baccalaureate instead of 4 years. And it reduces the amount of money, of course, that you would have to spend on tuition and living expenses. So it's really a marvelous thing. And then you graduated at the top of your class as valedictorian. Was that something you were trying to do? Did it just kind of happen to you, or had that been kind of intentional?
I think a little bit of both. I always tried to do my best in school, and school has been what I've been good at. So it kind of did come naturally, but of course I had to strive and I had to work hard and put in the long hours and nights to handle both high school and college.
Absolutely, and still come out at the top of your class. So you were aimed now straight out of high school, now with an associate degree as valedictorian. You could have gone just about anywhere, probably to school. Now you chose to come to the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. Tell us about that decision.
Right, so I did apply to quite a few universities, not just in Texas, but across the United States. I applied to a good number in California and Emory University in Georgia, and I was accepted to all of them. I mean, UC, Berkeley, everything like that, and in Texas as well. But I had kind of heard a little bit about the transition that was happening with UTRGV, and there was some buzz about it, over here about the money that they're putting into the university and all the opportunities that would bring for students who are coming in and students who are already there. And so I went with my parents to kind of tour the university in Edinburgh and just to see what the environment, was like over there. And after that, I received a letter, and it had information about this really great scholarship package that they were offering me based on, my work in high school and academics and things like that. And it was honestly the best offer that I received. And so that played a huge role in why I chose to go to the Valley. And honestly, I don't regret it at all. I think it was practical. It was the best choice for me to get the education that I needed and to get the opportunities that I wanted.
How wonderful. That's a great story for other students to hear, because you wanted to go away from home. It was time for you to kind of spread your wings a little bit, and you were ready to do that, even though you have very good universities there in San Antonio. And you could have gone almost anywhere in the nation and chose to stay in Texas, stay pretty close to home in case you need to get home and get a hug every once in a while, and but to come down to the Valley. So we're so glad that you made that decision. You mentioned that the scholarship package was very important to you. Tell us a little bit about, do you have other brothers and sisters, and how does that play into your making a decision?
I do. I have an older brother. He's 25 now, and he stayed in town for college. He went to UTSA, but he also paid for, his education with scholarship, except he did the whole ROTC Army thing. So that's where he took his path. And then I have a younger sister. She's still in middle school, so college and university is still something that she will have to deal with pretty soon.
Sure.
But so I think just the way that we were brought up in my family is that you pay for your higher education based on the talents and the gifts that you were given, because you are worth that. And so I think UTRGV obviously saw that I was worth that education, that higher education. And they, with all of the scholarships that I received from the university and the ones that I received here locally, I was able to graduate with zero debt at all. No loans, nothing. It's
such a good story to hear, because often we think that everybody's saddled with debt that comes to the university, and that's not the case. There are students who are able to maneuver through sometimes a very complicated environment of applying for scholarships. And as you say, using your talents and your skills, working very hard. Being valedictorian didn't hurt you. And having already an associate degree also was very, very helpful. Okay, so now you come down to UT Rio Grande Valley. And what is your major here as a junior?
My major is biology.
It was biology. And so was there a particular part of biology? Was it in pre-med or pre-medical training?
Yes, so it was specifically, I guess this track you would say is pre-medical biology. And I always knew that I wanted to go with that pathway, so it was an obvious choice.
Okay, and so tell us a little bit about a professor or two that might have been influential in your training in biology. Is there anyone in particular that kind of stands out?
I mean, all of my professors, especially I think my, higher, further in my coursework, they just work so closely with students. But specifically, there was Dr. Jesus De Leon. He worked with me since my first year there. And he's just so open and so willing to help all of his students. I'm pretty sure he's written me at least 3 letters of recommendation for the projects and research and schools that I've applied to for graduate school. But beyond that, he's willing to, motivate me. And like whenever I would say, no, I don't think I can get in, I don't think I can do this, he'd be like, no, I know you're going to do this. I know you're going to. They will take the time, all the professors, they'll take the time out of their schedules to meet with you and to see what you need and how they can help you, because they really care about, not just your success here in their class, but way beyond that in your career.
That's so good to hear. So you had lots of help to launch your next step once you finished at UT Rio Grande Valley. So then you finish your degree here, and you start to apply to what kind of programs for graduate school?
So I applied to various programs, but specifically it was physician assistant school, and I tried to apply mainly in Texas, because we have a lot of great medical centers, and I applied pretty much every PA program that was in its admission cycle.
Now,
the year that I was graduating.
Those are very difficult to get in, I understand. There's very few slots for students,
right?
And there's a huge number of students applying for those programs. So what was the result of your applications?
So the school that I was interviewed for and accepted to was UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas. They're one of the best in the nation, and I mean, they just produce results and great TAs every year. So I was really excited and surprised that I was accepted there, honestly.
You're still surprised?
Yes, still. Everything surprises me. But no, it's very competitive.
Of course.
I think they have so many applicants, but so yeah, that's where I was accepted.
That's wonderful. People just, it is a hard and very competitive path into physician's assistant school. And so the fact that you got in and you got into UT Health Science Center or UT Southwestern in Dallas is a big deal. It is, where Francisco Figueroa, our former chancellor, received his medical training. And we have several students up there now from the Valley and from UTRGV. So you're going to be in good company. All right. So now you've graduated from UT Rio Grande Valley, and now you're headed toward Dallas. And along the way, you apply kind of secretly, I understand, to become or to be considered to become Miss Fiesta San Antonio. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I guess I just wanted to do something on my own, kind of independently, and see if it would work out. Also, I think, Fiesta royalty being such a big deal here in San Antonio, it's not something that is easily attained. Mm-hmm. And so I definitely knew what I was getting myself into, and that it was going to be a challenge to even make it past the first round, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to try it anyways, and I really just wanted to use the education and the knowledge that I had just gained with my bachelor's degree from UTRGV and to begin putting it to use. I mean, I didn't want to wait till I was 25 or 30 to start using my degree. I think that anybody can put their knowledge to use as soon as you have it, and I wanted to use it for something good to give back to my community. So that's what really motivated me.
And so you grew up around the notion of Miss Fiesta San Antonio and royalty. Tell the audience a little bit about why that is such a big deal in San Antonio for those in the Valley that may not be as familiar as you are with it.
Right. So Fiesta itself is a huge, huge celebration and deal all year round here in San Antonio. And so Fiesta royalty, they're basically the ambassadors of not only the celebration, but what Fiesta stands for. And it's really giving back to the community. Mm-hmm. It's actually a nonprofit. And so all the money that's raised goes back to community organizations. So to be Fiesta royalty, that's just the highest honor that you could have here in San Antonio, maybe besides being mayor. I don't know, maybe they're the same level, maybe. But so Fiesta royalty, when I was younger, I remember seeing them visit schools that I was attending, and I would always think, wow, they're so beautiful, they're so confident, they know what they're doing, they have it together. I could never be that. I can never be that beautiful or that strong to be able to do what they're doing right now. But as I got older, my perspective kind of changed, and I saw that it was more than just the appearance of what you were seeing. There's something else behind that, and there's a lot of hard work and dedication and giving back behind all those crowns and sashes and titles. And so that's the part that really drew me into it.
So you applied to become Miss Fiesta, unbeknownst to your family, as I understand it, and pretty much of a secret to everybody else, right?
Yes, yes. I didn't tell a single person.
Not one. That's amazing that you did it that way. Most of us tell at least 2 or 10 just for support, but you decided to go independently into that competition. Now, you had to submit an idea for a community service project. Tell us a little bit about the idea that you submitted that eventually won.
Of course. So the basis of the Miss Fiesta program and internship, it's an internship with the Fiesta Commission. A lot of people, I think, when they see the crown and the sash, like I said, they think it's, like a beauty pageant. But really, it's an internship based on an original community service project that you present to the selection committee with your application. So you have to write out a proposal, be 6-7 pages, with 3 letters of recommendation, with your experience in volunteerism. And then the committee selects, their top picks. And then if you're selected, you go through an interview. And then if you're selected from the interviews, you become a finalist and you go through these sort of training sessions. And then the final selection event is where you speak and present yourself on stage to judges and talk about your project. So the project that I presented is now, that has been selected, of course, and developed, is called a Boost Box. So the basis of it is connecting middle school students who live and go to school in areas that are underrepresented in San Antonio, and just connecting them with basic hygiene, personal care items and education, which I think is something that's neglected, and I think it's kind of taboo to even talk about, because people, if they think, oh, it's personal care, personal hygiene, that's their business, that doesn't concern me. But really, I think it does concern a lot of people, and there's a lot of ways to help. And so seeing that need in my community, that's what really made me want to do this project.
It's very interesting that you would choose something of that kind. And, in medicine, the public policy and giving access to many, many people about the information that's helpful to them in medicine is a really a very important field that you'll be able to use now as you go on to PA school. So you competed, you began to go through some of the training, you presented your project, and then you were selected. Okay, so when did you finally tell your parents that not only are you competing, but that you had won?
I told them as soon as I left the event. Well, the selection event, when I won, I was crowned. Actually, I didn't directly come home after that. Now that I think about it, I went to my grandma's house, and I had received these 4 beautiful bouquets of roses and flowers, and I just knew that one of them belonged to her.
Oh.
And so that's what I did. And then I came home, and I told my parents, hey, guess what? I'm Miss Fiesta San Antonio. And they're like, no, you're not. Okay. So I tried to show them a picture. Didn't believe me. But then, perfect timing, the news came on, and there I was. And then that was it.
I love it. Well, first of all, I think your abuelita is a very lucky lady to have such an endearing granddaughter as you are. And then to do this with your parents, I think that's just very, very sweet. And so now you finally told them, they believed you, and you are now Miss Fiesta San Antonio as of last November, is that right? Or December? October. Okay, I missed it. Yeah. So since last October, so you're going to be reigning all of this spring and into the time that you actually have to move to Dallas to start physician's assistant school.
Yes.
Okay, so you got a lot to do between now and then.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, yeah. That's wonderful. And so, but you're also working right now. I understand you're at one of the community colleges?
Yes, I am still working.
Of course, and I think that's part of a student's life, that they work and they study, and of course, in your case, and you become Miss Fiesta San Antonio along the way. So let's say that you had some students here that I had gathered up from UTRGV before you, and I was asking you to give them some consejos, give them some advice about what helped you along the way? What lessons have you learned? What are a few things that you might think are particularly important to emphasize to someone who's still in the throes of an undergraduate degree?
That's a great question. I think, there's so many things that I would say.
Okay.
But I think, to start off, I would say, just take advantage of every opportunity that comes your way, because you never know what it's going to lead to. And even if you see a flyer for something around school and think, hey, maybe this isn't a real thing, maybe it's not worth it, I think it is worth it just to try. That's how I actually got into the biomedical research that I was able to do. As I saw a flyer in a stairwell in the science building, and I took it and I applied, and then I ended up doing a really great research project on finding a cure for infectious disease. And that's something that I never thought that I would be able to do, and get paid for it, because it was also a sort of internship. And so just take advantage of every opportunity that is offered to you. And beyond that, I think, on a higher level, just like I said earlier, just use what you're giving, your gifts and your education that you receive at the university, to give back to your community and your family, of course, because, you wouldn't be able to do it without them. I know that I wouldn't. And just don't forget where you come from and the environment that nurtured you and raised you. I think just to remember your roots and the people who got you here. I think that's also what I always try to keep in mind when I'm doing things like this, or I feel down, or like that I doubt myself. I just think about, how much my grandmother and my other grandparents struggled just to be here, just to be in this country, not to go to school, because they didn't have formal education. They were seamstresses and carpenters and bus drivers, and, just for them to be here was a struggle. So I think now that I can do more with that, and I think about all the history that is behind that, how my great grandfather, he worked in the fields in California, in the 1950s, and how he never had a chance to think about his health while he was out there working for 10, 12 hours a day, being paid just a few dollars. But now, just a few generations later, I'm here, and I have the chance to think about my health, and also the health and influence the health of an entire community. I think just to keep that full circle in mind is what I would say.
Well, that's a powerful statement, and something very, very inspiring for all of us, especially for younger students, to think about and to reflect on, especially as you start out in your in your giving us the advice with just see a flyer, take the opportunity. It's real. It might be you that's chosen. Sometimes we think it's for someone else, and that we can't accomplish things, but your journey would teach us otherwise. It would say, take advantage, try it out. You might get selected, and then pay back along the way. And I love the story about your great grandfather and your grandmothers and your family and their struggles to get where they are, because there is a kind of payback that we feel we've got to accomplish, and you're doing that. You've done it already, just with your excellence in school. Well, I want you to know how proud we are of you, and of the wisdom that you have gained already in your very, very young years. And I know you're going to represent your family and all of our community at UT Rio Grande Valley very, very well. So we're going to be cheering from you from the Valley as you continue to take your reign. We're going to take all credit that doesn't go to your family. We'll take the rest of the credit here. And then we'll follow you to Southwestern, to UT Southwestern, so that you can continue on to your dreams of becoming a physician's assistant. So don't forget us down here in the Valley.
Never. I couldn't.
And maybe someday we'll get you back and you can open your own place here and help thousands of people. Wherever you end up, you are going to be a star, and as you already have shown. So muchísimas gracias, Victoria. It has been a real pleasure. Is there anything that you would like to say in conclusion that I haven't asked you about before we end our conversation?
No, I don't think so. I think just to anybody who listens, I think this show is a great place to have conversations, and for anyone who's listening, you can be on this one day, I'm sure, and talk with Dr. Garcia. And I know, just never doubt yourself or what you aspire to do. I think that's the most important thing.
Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to, as I promised, I'm going to connect you up with some of our graduates who are now in San Antonio, some who are doing a postdoc that I told you about, our former chancellor who's at the medical school there. So we're going to follow you as you continue your journey. So stay connected to us. We are very, very proud of you, and we wish you the very, very best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking time to be with us. Adios y hasta pronto.
Thank you for tuning in to Next Generation, a program highlighting the next generation of leaders in the Rio Grande Valley and beyond.